A horror story for English learners, A2-B1 level. The Creepy Doll in Room 13. Part 1. The Old Boarding House. Sophie was 21 years old. She had just started university in a new city. Because she had little money, she rented a room in an old boarding house. The building was over 100 years old. Its wooden floors creaked with every step. The owner was a friendly woman named Mrs. Harper. When Sophie arrived, Mrs. Harper showed her around. "Your room is on the second floor, room 12. "Thank you. The house is beautiful." Mrs. Harper smiled. But as they walked upstairs, Sophie noticed something strange. There was no room 13. The doors went from room 12 directly to room 14. "Excuse me, where is room 13? Mrs. Harper's smile disappeared for a moment. "That room is closed. Nobody uses it." "Why?" "Just old building problems, nothing important." But Sophie wasn't convinced. Part 2. The Crying Sound. On her first night, Sophie unpacked her belongings. Around midnight, she was preparing to sleep. Then she heard something, a soft crying sound. It sounded like a child. At first, she thought it came from outside, but the sound seemed much closer. It came from somewhere inside the house. "Hello?" No answer. The crying continued, soft, sad, lonely. Sophie opened her door and stepped into the hallway. The sound became clearer. It was coming from the end of the corridor, from behind the locked door of room 13. Suddenly, the crying stopped. The hallway became completely silent. Sophie hurried back to her room. Part 3. The Doll. The next morning, Sophie met another student named Mia. They quickly became friends. At breakfast, Sophie mentioned the crying. Mia nearly dropped her cup. "You heard it too?" Mia nodded. "Many people hear strange sounds near room 13. "What's inside?" Mia lowered her voice. "An old doll." "A doll?" That's what people say. Apparently, it belonged to a little girl who lived here many years ago. Sophie laughed nervously. "And let me guess, now it's haunted." Mia didn't laugh. "That's exactly what people say." Part 4. The Photograph. Later that day, Sophie visited a small library. She wanted to learn more about the house. After searching through old newspapers, she discovered something interesting. In an article from 50 years ago, there was a photograph. It showed the boarding house. Standing in front of the building was a young girl. She held a large porcelain doll. The doll had curly black hair, a white dress, and bright blue eyes. The article mentioned a tragic accident. The girl had disappeared one stormy night. She was never found. Sophie felt uneasy. The doll in the photograph looked strangely familiar, as if she had seen it before. Part 5. A Visitor at Night. That evening, Sophie returned to her room. Everything seemed normal. At 2:15 a.m., she awoke suddenly. Someone was knocking on her door. Knock, knock, knock. Sophie sat up. The knocking continued, slow and steady. "Who's there?" No answer. She carefully opened the door. The hallway was empty, completely empty. Then she looked down. A doll sat on the floor, right outside her room. Sophie gasped. It was the same doll from the old photograph. Its blue eyes stared directly at her. Its face wore a small smile. Sophie immediately slammed the door shut. Part 6. The Moving Doll. The next morning, the doll was gone. Nobody believed Sophie's story, not even Mia. "Maybe you were dreaming. I know what I saw." That night, Sophie placed her phone on a shelf. She decided to record her room while she slept. The next morning, she watched the video. Everything seemed normal at first. Then, at exactly 3:03 a.m., something appeared. The doll. It stood near her bed. Sophie felt her stomach tighten. The doll remained motionless for several minutes. Then, its head slowly turned toward the camera. The recording ended immediately afterward. Part 7. Room 13. Now Sophie needed answers. That afternoon, she found Mrs. Harper. "Please tell me what's happening." Mrs. Harper looked tired, very tired, as if she had been carrying a secret for years. Finally, she spoke. The doll belonged to a girl named Lily. She lived here long ago. What happened to her? Nobody knows. One night, she vanished. Only the doll remained. Afterwards, strange things began happening. People heard footsteps, whispers, crying, and sometimes they saw the doll moving. Why keep it here? Mrs. Harper looked toward the locked room. Because every time someone tried to remove it, it came back. Part 8. The Secret Behind the Door. That night, Sophie and Mia decided to enter room 13. Using an old key from Mrs. Harper's office, they unlocked the door. The room was covered with dust. Old furniture stood in the corners. The air felt cold, very cold. At the center of the room sat a wooden chair, and on the chair was the doll. Its blue eyes seemed brighter than before. Beside it lay an old diary. Sophie opened it carefully. The final page read, "I am afraid of the doll. It talks to me at night. It says it wants to be my friend forever." The diary ended there. No more pages, no explanation, nothing. Part 9. The Truth. Suddenly, the room's door slammed shut. Bang! Mia screamed. The temperature dropped. A child's voice echoed through the darkness. "Don't leave me alone." The doll slowly stood up. Its tiny feet touched the floor. Sophie and Mia stared in horror. The doll began walking toward them. Step, step, step. Its smile grew wider. "Stay with me forever." The room filled with whispers, dozens of children's voices, all speaking together. "Stay, stay, stay." Sophie grabbed the diary. As she turned the final page again, something fell out, a small photograph. On the back was a message. "Tell Lily she can go home."
Part 10. Goodbye, Lily. Sophie held the photograph tightly. Then she spoke. "Lily, you don't have to stay here anymore." The room suddenly became silent. The doll stopped moving. Its blue eyes seemed softer somehow. "Your family is waiting for you. You can go home." For several seconds, nothing happened. Then a warm light filled the room. A little girl's laughter echoed softly. Not sad, not frightening, happy. The doll slowly sat back down. Its eyes closed. The whispers disappeared. The cold air vanished. Everything became quiet. The haunting was finally over. Or so they hoped.
Part 11. Final. A month later, Room 13 was opened for the first time in decades. Nothing strange happened. No crying. No footsteps. No whispers. People believed the curse had ended. One evening, Sophie was packing for summer vacation. As she organized her things, she found an old photograph inside her desk drawer. It was the picture of Lily, but something had changed. The doll was gone. Only Lily remained, standing alone, smiling peacefully. Sophie smiled too. Then she noticed something written on the back, words she had never seen before. "Thank you for being my friend." As the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, a gentle laugh echoed somewhere in the distance. And for the first time in many years, Room 13 slept peacefully.